Hi, my name's Anna. Welcome to my channel where we discuss all things literary. For today's video, I thought I could answer some questions about reading and books. Just a friendly FYI, I got these questions from various sources online. And by the way, these questions are in no particular order. They're just in the order that I found them. So, first question. Do I prefer hardcovers or paperbacks? Ultimately, I would prefer library binding. I used to work in a library, and there I learned that there is a special type of binding called library binding, and that is supposed to last a lot longer than regular paperbacks or hardbacks because it's made for libraries, and so they anticipate a lot of circulation, a lot of people reading it. That being said, if I had to choose between a paperback or a hardback, I would probably choose the hardback because, again, it's probably going to last longer. Who is my favorite author? My favorite author would have to be Chaim Potek. I absolutely love his works. I think they're fantastic, and I heartily recommend them to anyone. They're great. What is my favorite book? If I absolutely had to choose a favorite book, I would choose The Chosen by Chaim Potek. Like I said, Chaim Potek is my favorite author. I think he's amazing. I do love his book, My Name is Asher Lev, and The Chosen. I love both of those books. Ultimately, though, I would choose The Chosen because it is the first book I read by Chaim Potek, and it's what introduced me to him and his writings. What is my least favorite book? I don't know if I have a least favorite book. I would probably say I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica Lopez. And there's a lot of reasons why, but basically that's the least favorite book I've ever read. What is the oldest book I've ever read? And by oldest, it means publication date. The oldest book I've read would be The Epic of Gilgamesh. I don't remember when it was written, but I do remember that it is one of the first pieces of literature that we have. Like, it's one of the earliest pieces of literature that exists today. Do I prefer buying books or borrowing books? I like both. I think both are really great. I love libraries. I think they're fantastic. I like buying used books because used books tend to be a little cheaper, and then I like buying books because I can mark them up, I can highlight, I can write notes in them, so I would choose buying just for that. A book I dislike but everyone else seems to love. I would probably say Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, and it's not that I necessarily dislike it, it's that I have tried multiple times to read it, and I can't get into it. No matter how many times I try, I can't. But I do know it's a classic, and I do know many people love it. It's not for me. Do I prefer bookmarks or dog earing the pages of my book? I used to be okay with dog earing the pages of my book. I didn't really have a problem with that. I never did it to like a library book or a book that I had borrowed from a friend, but I would do it to my own books. But now I much prefer bookmarks or just like a scrap of paper, because folding that page like that does tend to like damage the page, makes it more likely that it's gonna rip or tear, and I would like my books to last as long as possible. Can I read while hearing music? I do not like to read while listening to music. It's because I feel like music affects like my emotions, and so do books, and I don't want that clash together. Like, I'd rather be focused solely on like what I'm feeling when I'm reading that book, and I don't want to have music affect that, if that makes sense. That being said, when I used to read papers, like those academic papers when I was in university, sometimes I would put on like music, like classical or jazz or like the lo-fi, something that didn't have any words in it. Do I prefer one point of view in reading a book, or do I like multiple point of views while reading a book. I don't think I've ever thought about that or if I have a preference. I don't think I have a preference. I will say most of the books I've read, at least recently, have been from one person's perspective, but it's not like I won't read a book from multiple people's perspectives or whatever. I don't have a problem with either. Do I read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? Usually now it's over multiple days. Sometimes if I have a free afternoon or something, I'll read a book in one sitting. It also depends on the type of books. Like with fiction books, I'm more likely to read it in one sitting, or I'm willing to read a fiction book in one sitting. But when it comes to nonfiction, I'd rather read it in multiple sittings because I want some time to think about it. Where do I read? Everywhere. I do prefer, we have this book room in our house and I really like to read there, but at the end of the day, it's really whenever I get a chance to read is where I'll read. What book or series got you into reading? So I've always been kind of a bookworm. Even when I was really little, before I could read, my mom says that all I wanted to do was listen to stories. So I've always just enjoyed stories. That being said, the first book or book series I remember absolutely reading for myself and I loved was The Boxcar Children. I think I was 6 or 7 when I started reading them, and I thought they were fantastic. I loved them. So that one. What genres do I like? My favorite genre is probably historical fiction. I also do like mysteries, but I've noticed that most of the reads that I do are historical fiction. Are there any genres I dislike? I cannot get into science fiction. I've tried before and it's just not my cup of tea. I did really like A Canticle for Labouts. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, but I think that's the only science fiction book that I've actually read and been this is amazing. What book or series do I hope and pray will be turned into a movie or TV show one day? I'm always torn on turning my favorite books into a movie or TV series because when I read a book, I have the imagery in my mind. I like using my imagination to picture what's going on, to see what's happening. I like that. And I also like the way the story is in a book because they always will change it for a movie. I'm not the biggest fan of turning books that I like into movies. That being said, I do think a film adaptation of Paradise Lost, if they did it really well, would be so cool. I think that would be awesome, and I would 100% watch that movie. What was my favorite book when I was a child? Like I said, I really did love The Boxcar Children. I liked The Boxcar Children. I liked Little House on the Prairie. I liked Encyclopedia Brown. I liked Beverly Cleary books. I did like the American Girl books a lot. Probably one of those. Oh, and I also liked Andrew Clements a lot. So I don't know if I have a favorite book from among those. Maybe A School Story by Andrew Clements. I really did like that book. Do I prefer physical books or ebooks? Physical books. Hand down, that's not a question. I don't like ebooks. I don't have anything against ebooks. If someone wants to read them, I think that's great. I don't like them at all. I hate them. And then the last question. Have I ever had a crush on a book character? Yes, absolutely. Multiple times. Alright, so I hope you liked that video. If you did, feel free to subscribe and give it a like. And hopefully I will see you in another video. Bye!